Hi everybody. In this video today I'm going to show you how to use eValue. eValue is our software that we use to track your medical records and your healthcare information that we use to certify your readiness for clinical. And we also send out your clinical evaluations through eValue as well. There are a couple other features that we use, case logging, which keeps track of some of the procedures that you might do in clinical, and there's also another feature, time tracking. So the first thing, you probably have already gotten an email from either me or Linda Lambert, and this email will include your login information. So you can see right at the top, you can see who sent it to you, and then right underneath in the bold letters is your particular username and password. So this one here is obviously a test student, so I can show you how everything looks without giving up anybody's personal data. So I'm going to go over to the eValue site. So it's www.e-value.net. This is the screen that comes up. So I am going to type in my username, which is nursing student. And the password is T3ST3ST. There's no institutional code, so then you just click login, and it's going to take you right to the home screen. So this is your home screen as a student. You can see on the left-hand side there are evaluations, which I'll touch on in a minute. And then the two things I talked about, case logs and time tracking. If you scroll further down, there are some announcements, there's links to different forms that you might need for specific clinical sites, some sort of tips and tricks and stuff like that through here. Your information is located down here. This would obviously be your email address, your rank, which is which quarter you're in, and then your role, which obviously would be student. So the first thing that we want to check is your immunization and certification status. So these are your CPRs, your vaccination records, flu shot, stuff like that. So you want to click Home, and then right underneath this blue bar you're going to click Other Tasks. So right here you'll see personal records requirements. You're going to click on that, and that will take you to a list of all of your healthcare and immunizations. Now this is all data that I entered this morning, so all the dates are pretty recent. But this is pretty much how yours is going to look when everything is all completed. You can see here this one is grayed out. It says not met because I don't have a positive TB, a positive PPD, so I don't need a chest x-ray. But if you do, or if you've had a positive PPD, then you need a chest x-ray, and this will be recorded here. So you're scrolling through here, these are all things that you can see. So if as you do them, and you hand your paperwork in to Linda, she checks off that you've done them, she enters the dates. There are expiration dates on a lot of these, and that will trigger reminders to you that you need to get your flu shot done, or it's time for your annual PPD, and stuff like that. Some of these you only need to do once, the titers, and some of the vaccinations to make sure that you're still immune, especially if you got these as a young child. Your physical exam down here at the bottom, you need to have a physical exam yearly, and this is where you can see where everything is at. So I'll go over that again. So it's Home, Other Tasks, and then Personal Records Requirements. Linda might ask you to upload some things. You can click on Edit here, and then you can see this here, Add Attachment, click again for multiple. So you click it here, and you can upload a picture of your PPD or a scan or something like that, and then It'll be there on your records. This is mostly for your benefit, so you have, sort of digital copy of your records in case you need them, later on in your career or for something else. So the next thing I want to show you is how the evaluations work. As a quarter one student, you will have a clinical evaluation form sent to you. It's not ready yet, so I'm going to show you what what email you get and how to get to that. So you can see here, I'm the email administrator for eValue, so most of these emails will come from me. So you can see that I've scheduled to do evaluation for Nursing 256, which is Medical, Surgical, Nursing, and Assessment 2. To get to your evaluation right from your email, you can just click on this link, and it's that easy, and it will take you right to inside eValue. You can see that you have complete pending evaluations. So I can edit this evaluation, which means I'm going to fill it out. There are two types: the clinical self-evaluation midterm and the clinical self-evaluation final. These come out at different times during the semester, so you won't typically see both of these at once. This one comes out obviously during week 4 or 5, and this bottom one comes out at week 9. So just edit the evaluation so you can kind of get a sense of what's on here. So as you scroll down, there are directions on what you need to do, what's expected of you to hit these certain thresholds. And it also acts as a rubric, so when your clinical instructor grades you, you can sort of look and say, okay, I got to meet expectation, that's an 85, and these are the things that he or she used to sign me off on. So down here is really where it starts, and these are all organized by the QCIN core competencies and behavioral criteria. I'm not going to read these because they're going to be a little bit different for every course, and as I said, this one is specific for MedSurg 2. So you can check off whether you feel you exceed expectations, meet expectations, below expectations or needs improvement, unacceptable, and this NO is not observed. So if you have any comments, or something was particularly good, or you have a specific example about how you met this criteria, you can fill that out there and your instructor will be able to see it. So as you scroll down to complete, you can see that there are 8 sections. All of them are mandatory, so you need to put an answer in. So if you've not done it, you select not observed. So if you want to give a sort of overall summary of how you feel the quarter has gone so far up until midterm, you can write some notes here. The goal is to start a dialogue with your clinical instructor about your time. So if you feel you're not meeting objectives, or you need more time doing a certain other skill, or you want some help doing something else, you can add that there, and the instructor will see it and work with you to try to help you meet those objectives. Down here are your student program learning outcomes, or SPLOs, so you can use this to help sort of figure out where you're at. Now you don't need to complete this all at once. You can click save for later, and it will save all the answers that you've completed so far, and it'll kind of put it on hold for you to come back and do it again. If you're complete, you can hit the submit button. It'll be done. It will go to your clinical instructor. Now there is another step once you've submitted it. We ask that you email your clinical instructor that you've completed it, because he or she can then load it up. All your answers will be loaded into their form, and then the goal is to have sort of one complete document with all of these answers in one spot for you to find them. And that's that for that. I'm going to click save for later because I can't submit it because there's no data. And that little message up there just lets you know what you've done, and that you can expect to see it again. So to see evaluations that have been completed about you, you click evaluations up here in this tab, evaluation management, and complete pending evaluations. You'll have another option in that spot where you can view the evaluations that have been completed about you once you have evaluations. This test student doesn't have any evaluations, so we can't see that, but that's where they would be. It's very simple. The next thing that we do, you might possibly do, is time tracking. So we'll click that, time tracking management, and then log time. It's pretty straightforward. So here, as you move along, there's guided practice, which is scheduled practice with an instructor. Your lab hours, which are time that you come into the sim lab and practice on your own without an instructor. You can pick your course. Since the student is quarter 5, we just pick only that one option comes up. And then the supervisor, you can pick probably Rob and Neil or me. We sign off that you were in the lab doing what you say you did. Down here, you select the time that you were there. It defaults to 2 hours, but you can change it, in half-an-hour increments. So then you would, once you click on the date here, that's the final. Step that you need to do. So once you punch in the date, so we'll do the 16th as today. Oops, I made a mistake there. Surgical assessment, punch the button, and then you can see down here that you did lab hours. So that's going to go to the supervisor to approve. When it's approved, you'll see a little check mark there. You don't need to do anything after that. The clinical instructor or the sim lab instructor, either me, Frank Raposo, or Rob and Neil, will check off that you were doing that. Another thing that you might use is case logs. So this is how we would track if you were practicing doing Foley catheters or wound care or IV skills, medical administration, things like that. So you click this case log up here. Case log management is the only thing you have available, and then you would go to log new case. So this interaction date is the date that you were there. I think you have to do it within 2 or 3 days of completing it, otherwise it won't allow you to enter the skill. So this clinical instructor would be whoever was in the sim lab with you at the time. So I'll pick me because I was in the sim lab. Of course, we'll pick MedSurg 2. We'll pick a different one, so we'll pick Nursing Fundamentals. The location is usually the sim lab. You can add some notes about what you did. The setting is either sim lab or clinical for the most part. And then the procedure, so you could do administering a piggyback, intermittent intravenous infusion of medication. Select your role. You would put that you performed the skill and you did it for, let's say, 15 minutes. So you click Add Procedure, and that adds it to the list down here. So if you needed to add another procedure, you could go back up and say that you did intramuscular injection, you performed it, you spent 15 minutes, add procedure, and then it logs it down here. So your very next step, and the last one you have to do for this, is save record. So you save the record. And then that's it, the case is logged. We might be doing things like this to log things that you've done in clinical. So if you administer medication in clinical, or if you insert a Foley catheter, or you did CPR, you can keep track of skills that you perform in clinical here. We're not doing that exactly right now, but this will sort of serve as a reference for you to go back in case you have any questions about how to do that, in case we do that. So as far as eValue goes, that's about it. It's very straightforward. The other thing too is if you lose your email with your evaluation and you can't find it, you can always log back into eValue just like we did in the beginning. And then this home screen here, you can see that we have 2 complete pending evaluations. So this is my task. So I can click on complete pending evaluations, and it's going to take me right to that screen that the link from the email did. So you don't have to get worried about losing that email. You just log right into eValue and you can complete that stuff. I am always available to help with questions with eValue. So if you have any questions, you can send me an email. It's fraposa@neit.edu. And I am happy to answer any questions or help you get into the system. So hopefully this was helpful, and good luck.